Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining today's demo, Empower Your Team with Rehearsal's video-based coaching platform. I'd like to thank today's sponsor, ELB Learning. ELB Learning offers products and services that help organizations create better learning experiences, and their suite of products and services include custom learning design and development, learning platforms, development tools for creating interactive mobile learning, virtual reality, video-based coaching, and gaming learning experiences that rock. I'm Alexandria Clapp, the Senior Content Manager for Learning Technologies and Sciences at ATD, and I will be your moderator today. I know our speaker, Micah, plans to keep you engaged, so if you would like to interact with him and our fellow participants throughout our session, be sure to select everyone, say hello to us now in our chat box, and I will be holding on to questions for our Q&A during and throughout the session. So anything that's new or unanswered, I'll hold on to for Micah at those times. And now I'm very pleased to introduce today's speaker. Micah Epler is a client solution consultant at ELB Learning, and we're looking forward to learning more about Rehearsal's video-based coaching platform. So without further ado, I'm just going to pass it right over to Micah to take it away for us today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alexandria. It is very nice to meet everyone. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen really quickly. So as she mentioned, my name is Micah Epler. I'm a client solution specialist with ELB Learning. We provide a suite of products and services that help to unlock your employees' potential within their roles, within their jobs, within their careers. And one of those tools that we utilize among the many that Alexandria mentioned is Rehearsal, which is a video-based practice and coaching platform. You can also consider it asynchronous role play if you want to. Today, we've only got 30 minutes, so I'm going to be spending the large majority of that time within the tool itself. I'm not going to worry too much about some of these slides, but I do want to offer this up right away. This QR code here, if you want to pull out your phone and scan it, this is a way to book an appointment with us at ELB to talk about any of those products and services that Alexandria listed off, whether it be our custom services or StaffOg or any of the other tools that we have within our tool belt. Whether that's with me or with one of our other specialists, please go ahead and take the time to scan this QR code. I will wrap up the session with this QR code as well, because I don't want to sit here and do like one of those things where if you tell your children, like, hey, let's start a countdown, and they start at like 37, 36, 35, and that's all the time you have to scan this code. So scan it now if you want to, or you can save it to the end and book some time with us. We'd love to talk with you and learn about what projects you're focused on. What are the things that are important to you in your roles at your organizations? What challenges are you facing? We'd love to learn about those and see if there are ways that we can partner together and support one another. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead. I am going to stop my share there. I am going to pull up Rehearsal, and we are going to go ahead and spend the time within that tool. So let me reshare this. Let me share my sound. And right now, what you should be seeing is the web version of Rehearsal. So I'm going to be showing you the web version. Please note, we do also have native iOS and Android apps available if you want your learners to access this in a mobile environment, whether that be on a smartphone, whether that be on a tablet. We can provide a seamless mobile experience for them, as well as this web version. Rehearsal has I'm going to call it a core 4 use cases that it's most commonly used with: sales and sales enablement, leadership training, anything customer service related, and new hires, right? Employee onboarding, getting people up to speed, speed to competency type of things. But while those are the core 4 use cases that it's most commonly used for, it can be utilized for anything. It's completely use case agnostic. It can be utilized for anything that you want to capture on video and be able to provide coaching and feedback for somebody. So it doesn't have to be a soft skill. It can be a hard skill. We just want to if I was to sit here and show you how to fix a component on my cell phone, I could do that and submit this in the platform, and somebody could provide coaching and feedback for me on it type situation. So you can utilize anything. You can utilize this tool for any use case that you possibly have. But my demo site's kind of tailored towards that sales and sales enablement type of role. So we'll focus on that for today. what you're seeing here is when I first log into Rehearsal, I'm brought to the assignments tab, and this is the learner view, right? So I'm currently a learner. Let's say I'm a salesperson, which is funny because I actually am on one of your teams, though, for instance. So when I log into Rehearsal, I'm brought to the assignments tab, and I've got some assignments here that have been given to me based on my role within the organization, based on where I'm at within my training, based on areas of improvement that my manager has identified and rolled out to me a la carte. This isn't like an LMS or something like that where I'm seeing all of the content that's built in Rehearsal. I'm only seeing the content that I have been assigned to personally within this platform. Okay. You'll notice that each assignment here has its own start and end date and is broken down into these individual, we call these scenarios in the platform. You can consider them micro learning modules if you want to, but they're just individual pieces of a skill set, talk track, workflow, process that you want me to practice. Okay. So let's go ahead and hop into this success story scenario. And this scenario is what we call a standard mentor feedback scenario. So this is the most basic and most involved kind of scenario that you can have within the platform. You'll notice here that the scenario is comprised of 4 parts. All right. We've got the front end prompt video here. This is going to be the front end of a video role play, or this could certainly just be the instructor-led instructions. Let's say we had a new product coming out in a couple weeks. We said, hey, everybody, we want you to practice your elevator pitches for the new product rollout. Make sure you keep your responses between 1 and 2 minutes. Make sure you cover X, Y, Z in that response. Let me see what you got. Ready, set, go. Right? So we can deliver it in that instructor-led style, or I'll play this video here in a second and you'll see the role play style here. You have a spot down here for further text-based instructions. So whether you want to provide more context around what's going on within the role play, you want to provide really clear expectations in terms of what you're looking to get out of the learner in this scenario. If you want to link out to some information here, you can do any and all of that, type in whatever you want into this section here. You also have the ability to create and customize a grading rubric when you build these scenarios in Rehearsal. And if you do so, we give the learners visibility into what the criteria within that rubric are, right? Number 1, for transparency's sake, but number 2, quite honestly, if we do a good job of labeling these criteria, it's a great way to drive the correct behavior out of the learners in their practice in the first place. And then lastly, we've got a spot over here for attachments. So any sort of referenceable material, commonly it's training material, right? But anything you want. So you can see here, I've got a case study in PDF format. This could certainly be in Word doc format. This could be a best practice video or a training video, audio file, PowerPoint presentation, Excel spreadsheet, any combination of all those. Attach whatever you want into this section here for the learner to review. So again, this is the content that you would author within Rehearsal. And as you build this, this is meant for the learner to review prior to practicing. When I'm ready as the learner, I'd go ahead, I'd play this prompt video and prepare to practice.
Wow, sounds like you guys have some pretty cool stuff going on. But I always like to do my due diligence. So can you tell me about some success stories that some of your clients have had?
Okay, so obviously it's my demo site, so super generic prompt. Even that guy, I think his name is Daniel. You probably saw him in the coffee shop. He looks fairly generic. Anyway, I now know I'm talking to a prospect. He wants to hear about some success stories from some of our clients. So from here, got a really clean user experience, 2 gigantic buttons. I can either record a video if I'm actively practicing this within platform, or I can upload a video if, let's say, we did capture a live interaction on Zoom or on Teams or something like that. We could take that recording and come in and upload that as our response here within the platform. But I'm actively practicing, so I'll go ahead, I'll click the record button. When I do so, the platform will access the camera and the microphone. Now you see me picture in picture here. I click this start recording button. I get a simple 3, 2, 1 countdown. And now I'm on the stage. Now I get the opportunity to go ahead and practice telling my success story or working through whatever this scenario is asking me to work through. I can talk for as long as I want. And when I'm done, I'll click that stop recording button. And the first thing that happens is that this video automatically plays back. So I have to see myself, I have to hear myself, and I have to decide whether or not I did any good in this particular practice take. And now I'm on the stage. Now I get the opportunity to go ahead and practice telling. Okay, so I can watch that all the way back through. And again, really clean user experience here, like red button, bad, green button, good type situation. I can either discard that recording and practice again, or I can submit it for coaching and review on the back end here. what we have found at Rehearsal and at ELB is that learners are by far their own harshest critics. So historically, on average, learners are clicking this discard recording button 5.6 times on average before ever submitting a video, ever getting any sort of feedback or any sort of coaching. So not only are they actually practicing this skill set 5 or 6 times, which we take right away, right? There's so much value just in getting somebody to practice something 5 or 6 times, but by having to see themselves, by having to hear themselves and kind of and self-assess, right? They're actually working through some of this low-hanging fruit, some of these not mistakes, but like some of these areas of improvement, right? They're seeing if they're utilizing too many filler words, or if they're making poor eye contact, or if they don't sound confident, right? Some of these simple things, they'll work through some of them on their own, which is great because by doing that, once they submit this in the platform to somebody who's going to review it, whether it's a manager, a trainer, whoever it might be, a director, right? And they come in and provide feedback, we're going to be able to provide higher levels of coaching and feedback that are actually going to upskill these learners on these particular skill sets and not worry about some of that rudimentary stuff. Okay. One thing to note, we do want Rehearsal to be a safe environment for people to practice. So if they do discard that recording, that video goes away. Nobody ever sees it, right? So we want to provide this safe space for people to go ahead and push themselves outside of their comfort zones, right? And actually live in that gray area where they can make those mistakes, because that's where the learning actually happens. That's where getting better actually happens. So we've got all of the reporting and the data to track how many times somebody re-records, all those types of things, but safe environment for people to practice. We're going to say, for the sake of time, because I'm already talking as fast as I am, because we got a lot to fit into 30 minutes. So we're going to say this video is good. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to click submit. I get a prompt. It just says, hey, are you sure you want to do that? We're looking to, again, protect the learner here. I do. So I click OK. And that's going to do 3 things. Number 1, that'll start the upload of that video, which is going to append itself here to the scenario in the platform, kicking off what we like to call the conversation thread. The second thing that's going to happen is that video is going to start to transcribe. So every learner video that's getting submitted in the platform is getting automatically transcribed so that we can look for standardized messaging or trends in messaging or anything like that. And then the third thing that's going to happen is that a notification is going to go out to whoever's been assigned to me as my mentor in the platform, letting them know that I've submitted a video and they need to go in and provide some feedback. And as a matter of fact, I'm my own mentor here, so I already got the email notification that came across. I'm signed out on my mobile app on my phone, so I didn't get the push notification. And you get to see my dog. So win-win-win, quite honestly, across the board. So I know there's stuff going on in the chat. Alexandria, I'm going to kick it to you real quickly. What questions are going on that I can answer at the moment?
I think some folks have just been talking about how they have been using video-based platforms or something that they already have right now. So don't know if I see any questions yet.
Perfect. Perfect. No worries. That is totally fine. It's totally fine. Please, anybody, if you have any questions, thoughts, best practices, anything you want to share, please continue to utilize the chat. It's a great spot. Okay. So let's go ahead and then talk about the actual coaching side of this. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to scroll up here. I'm going to click this admin button here in the top right. Again, so obviously in my demo site, I'm an admin. So I see all of the content creation tabs, user management tabs, all that sort of stuff. If I'm just a mentor in this platform, that button that I clicked would have said mentor, and I would only see this review tab. So I can't come in here and go foul up our content or go do any of that sort of stuff. But this is the mentor view here on the review tab, right? I certainly can review and filter as our repository over time grows and we're utilizing this platform. I can search and do everything I need to here. Otherwise, I've got a queue here of all these different scenarios I've been assigned to as a mentor. And I can see over here on the right-hand side, right, based off of the icon over here, we know where we're at within the process. And of course, we can filter and do everything there. But here's that scenario that was just submitted. So I can go ahead, I can click on into that. As the mentor, I get to also see all of the original scenario information. So I can review any of that if I need to. But as I scroll on down here within the conversation thread, right, there's that learner's video. And then you can also see that we get some AI analytics, some AI transcript feedback here that we can utilize to provide higher levels of coaching and feedback. So I can see key points of what the learner was said in their response. I can see a summary of what the learner said in their response. Were there any calls to action by the learner here? I can certainly see the transcript as well as the mentor. And then I do get these transcript analytics, right? What about talk time, pause time, average pace, word count? How many questions did the learner ask in their response? I can utilize all these AI data points to then be able to provide higher levels of coaching and feedback here. Okay? From there, I can certainly watch the video and start to build my feedback. And now I'm on the stage. Now I get the opportunity to go ahead and practice telling. Okay. So I can, again, watch that all the way through as the mentor. And then when I'm ready, we've built rehearsal and this coaching and mentorship feedback side of this to support doing multiple things, right? If we're just doing straight up one-on-one coaching, of course we can do that. If we want to have multiple mentors back here providing coaching and feedback on this, we can do that. We can even set the permissions to what each person can and cannot do when it comes to providing feedback. So I'll walk us through that. And we've also built this as in case we want to be doing asynchronous role play where we want to provide coaching and feedback, but we also want to keep this conversation going on in the same thread. So stick with me. I'll walk through that. The first thing that we can do when it comes to leaving feedback is that we can leave a comment. Cool thing about being able to leave a comment is not only can the feedback be video and or text-based feedback, but with comments, we can associate them with a specific time within that learner's video, right? So I pause it at 4 seconds. This brings it to 4 seconds. I can move this around if I need to, of course. Okay. So obviously on a 23-second video, time-based feedback is going to be irrelevant. But if you've got something that's a couple minutes or longer and you want to leave feedback at 23 seconds and a minute 17 and 2:19, right? We can do that. One thing to note about these comments is that it doesn't move the workflow along at all. So we'd submit this, right? The learner can see the feedback, watch the feedback, read the feedback, do all those things, but the platform doesn't prompt them to do anything. So if we had multiple mentors back here, and let's say we had a manager and a topical expert, we could set the permissions for the topical expert, for example, to say, hey, you can only leave commentary feedback. We want you to be able to provide your expertise, but we're going to leave it up to the manager to run the workflow and provide the final grade on this, right? That way there's no struggle there between the two. Those roles are clearly defined for them. Secondly, if we wanted to do asynchronous role play here, we could provide our coaching and feedback in this commentary format. But then once we submit that, I'm going to go ahead and remove it just for the sake of clarity here. I could submit that, but then when we're ready to provide the next installment of the role play, I'm going to prompt the learner for a new response, and I can come in here and record or upload a video that is the next installment of this conversation. So based off of what the learner said here, maybe now I'm going to come in and take a video that is going to throw an objection at them or ask clarifying questions, and we're just going to go back and forth in this asynchronous role play until we get all the way through the conversation. Of course, if we're just doing straight up one-on-one coaching and what the learner submitted here wasn't quite up to the level that we were looking for, we could, of course, record a video and just say, hey, Micah, that was a good job of telling that success story. You just forgot to talk about XYZ within your success story. Go back in, integrate that in. Let me see what you come up with. Can't wait to see it. Good luck, right? And we can go back and forth in this one-on-one type of coaching and feedback loop until we get to the level that we're looking for. Okay. The last thing that we can do, and again, I'm going to do it just for the sake of time here, is we could submit for final review. When we submit for final review, again, of course, we can leave our video and our text-based feedback, but now here comes the grading rubric that we built on the front end when we created this scenario. So I can go ahead, I can, grade the learner out on their performance here. You have full control over how little or how many grading criteria are here. You can change what they're called and what they're labeled, and you can change the scoring scale to be anything out of up to 100. So again, make it a 50-point scale, 25, 5-point scale, 1-point scale, whatever you want to do. You've got full control over that. Same process here when it comes to providing feedback as a mentor here in the platform. Mentors need practice too, so they click record, right? It pulls up the camera, the microphone, they get the same 3, 2, 1 countdown. Micah, that was a fantastic job of telling that success story. I really like what you came up with. As a matter of fact, I think a lot of other people from the team can learn from that success story. So I just wanted to let you know we're going to be promoting that video to the leaderboard. Congratulations. Micah, that was a fantastic job of telling that. Okay, so that's my positive self-speak for the day. So my therapist will be stoked about that. We'll go ahead and submit that. That'll be good. Once this video prepares and is uploaded here, right, then we can go ahead and submit that for final review and send that volley back over the net, right? Now the learner is going to get notified that they have gotten a grade and that this is closed out and all that sort of stuff. And then I just mentioned the fact that Rehearsal, that we were going to promote this video to leaderboard. And so Rehearsal's leaderboard is simply meant to be a repository of best practices. I'm going to stick with the sales use case here because, of course, with your sales teams, right, you're going to have your top performers, right? You're going to have people who hit their numbers all the time. They've got great business acumen. They have awesome communication skills. They're just excellent at their job. What are they doing in these situations that's making them so impactful and so effective that we can highlight for other learners to be able to see and learn from here within the platform, right? So we're just taking user-generated content and leveraging that as a best practice to hopefully upskill the rest of our sales force. So I, as the mentor, can come to this learner video. I can click on the 3 dot here. I can click the add to the leaderboard button, and that brings up this section here. So there's only 2 things that show up on the leaderboard: the best practice video itself and whatever we type into this section here. So typically, as a best practice, we see 2 things done: give credit where credit is due. So that's going to help drive performance and activity within the platform, because when people see other people getting kudos, guess what? They want those kudos. Secondly, since this is going to be visible to other learners, we'd want to type in here why this video is good. What do we want people to learn from it? Okay. I'm just going to say this is great just for the sake of time. You can publish it directly to the leaderboard. Depending on your company culture, if you would like, you can request permission from the learner to be posted to the leaderboard. Totally up to you how you go about that. I'm just going to publish it directly there. And now that video is going to live on the leaderboard. So back over here on the learner side, I'm getting notifications that are coming across on my phone and in my email as things are happening. A quick refresh here in the platform will see all these actions have taken place. I can now scroll in here and see on this scenario, right now I see a big green check mark. I can see my score that I've been given over here. I can click into this scenario. I can scroll on down through this conversation thread. So you'll notice every video that gets submitted in here continues to live in this thread, right? It's a big, long, continuous thread. Learner videos are wrapped in greens. There's mine that it was. If we had left a comment, it'd be wrapped in gray. The prompt to try again is in blue, right? The final feedback's here in red. I can watch the mentor's feedback video. I can see the breakdown of the rubric down here and be able to review any of that at any point in time. If I wanted to view any of the videos that are on the leaderboard, I can just simply click the leaderboard over here on the far left. And now I see, right, there's my video that was posted here on the leaderboard. And the way that the leaderboard functions is that I'm only going to see videos from myself or my colleagues who are assigned to the same scenarios that I have. So again, that way we can run multiple use cases. If we're running a leadership training program over there and I'm part of the sales training program over here, I'm not assigned to those leadership training programs. And so those scenarios, the leaderboard submissions from those leadership scenarios, I'm not going to see on my leaderboard because that's not in my purview, right? But I could come in here, for example, and I've got a colleague, Pete. Maybe I've never even talked to Pete before, but I can come in here and I can learn from his success story.
So this is where I would talk about my success story.
Okay, so I can watch that all the way through. I can see the note from his mentor as to why it's good and what I'm supposed to learn from it. And then we can drive a little bit of socialization by being able to like videos on the leaderboard, because we can certainly filter things by the most liked and just see, which videos are the best of the best or which videos are most impactful. Okay. So that's a standard mentor feedback scenario. Again, that's the learner experience, the AI component, the feedback capabilities, as well as the leaderboard. Alexander, I'm going to kick it to you one more time. Any questions that are going on in the chat that I can help answer at the moment?
I think you were already just talking about the leaderboard. Can you clarify if it's an app that's built into Rehearsal, if it's on separate platform?
Yeah, no, it's totally built into the platform. It is available on both the web and in the mobile app, but it is fully part of the platform itself. I also see that Lori asked, is the mentor the same as a coach? So Lori, mentor is the term that we utilize in the platform to define whoever's going to be providing that coaching and feedback. So doesn't matter the role of a mentor in the platform, right? You get to define who that is, right? It could be a peer, right? Maybe you've got a full-on junior level, experience level, type of mentorship role. You can make that experienced salesperson the mentor for that junior rep, right? Or it could be a RM, a DM. It could be somebody, a trainer, right? It could be somebody from L&D. Whoever, you get to define who that is. Okay. You bet, of course. Keep the questions coming. I know we got 5 minutes. Keep the questions coming. I know there's certainly multiple other features that we can cover in Rehearsal, and would love to talk with them more in person with everybody. Again, I'm gonna if you guys want to book time with us, please, would love to show these to you. A couple of things that I want to touch on. We also have other AI capabilities in the form of keyword recognition. So on any scenario, you can set up a keyword bank of up to 25 keywords and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Learner, you have to mention 6 out of these 10 keywords that we've mentioned or that we've listed here in order to, quote unquote, pass or have your video qualify type situation. You can also do words not to say as well. So if there are words that for compliance reasons you don't want them saying, or you don't want them saying a competitor's name, right? You can list those as well, or filler words, and you can list those as well. And if those are flagged, right, those will get flagged for the learner if they mention them in their response as well. Okay, so that's another component of this. A couple other features that I want to briefly touch on really quick. The first one is the hot seat. Hot seat scenario is patented technology to Rehearsal. People love the hot seat. Love it. It's like one of their favorite things. So I'm not going to make you read this. The learner has to check these 2 boxes so they understand what's about to happen to them. In a hot seat scenario, you'll notice here, right? Here's all 4 components. This looks relatively the same to that mentor feedback scenario, except there's no record or upload button. And that's because in a hot seat scenario, once the learner plays this prompt video, as soon as the prompt video ends, the platform automatically launches the camera and the microphone, automatically starts the 3, 2, 1 countdown, and the learner's got 1 shot to nail whatever it is you're asking them to do. So here's how this works.
It's important to have clear messaging, so in a short elevator pitch, succinctly describe what we do.
Okay, so that ends. Platform automatically launches camera and the microphone, 3, 2, 1 countdown, ready, set, go. And now I got 1 shot to go ahead and nail whatever it is that you're asking me to do here. So if I'm completely unprepared, if coffee comes spilling out of my nose, that would suck for me. Alexandria would get to laugh at me, but it's a hot seat scenario, right? You get 1 shot to go ahead and nail this thing. So when they click stop, right, that video doesn't automatically play back. That's just going to get submitted for coaching and review on the back end. So I don't necessarily like to use the word test. This is a great way to see if people can perform in a one and done situation. Maybe this is a great way to certify, right? Hey, we've given you plenty of opportunities to practice and role play and get to the level where you're comfortable. Now we want to know if you can execute in a one and done situation before we let you out into the wild, maybe in front of customers, for example, right? So that's the hot seat scenario. 3 minutes. Audio only. It's exactly what it sounds like. Again, I mentioned the customer service use case off the top. If you do have any sort of outbound sales, any sort of customer service where we are operating similar to a phone, you can set up any scenario to be an audio only. It's going to do exactly what it sounds like. When the learner goes to record, it's only going to access the audio and not access the video, so you can role play that. Some organizations like this. Some really like being able to see the nonverbals, right, of a person. The whole smile and dial aspect of it. You can totally get that too, but this is just a different modality you have. The last thing I'm going to touch on is that we also have a screen recorder built into this platform. So with the screen recorder, right, not only are you going to be able to see the person and hear the person, but you're going to capture whatever's going on their screen. So again, with new hires, if you want to system certify them, you've got Salesforce, you want to know a new hire properly knows how to input an opportunity into Salesforce so that your data stays nice and clean. You can have them show you and be able to provide coaching and feedback on it. If you've got leaders who are working on presentations, you can have their presentation deck pulled up so you can see them, hear them, and see how they're navigating compared to the content within that presentation. You've got salespeople, they've got cheat sheets or collateral they work off of. They can have that pulled up. So again, you can see them, hear how their messaging correlates with the material that they're utilizing. And this is how it works.
So one thing I know that you were curious about is the ability to do screen recording, and you can utilize.
Okay, I'm not gonna belabor that. Everybody gets the idea. I'm also running out of time. So lots of different things you can do within Rehearsal. A great way to scale role play, scale one-on-one type of coaching, right? That's the value add for this, being able to do it asynchronously. We don't have to schedule another time to do it live. It doesn't matter what time zones we're in. We can do it together, right? And just do it asynchronously. So I'm going to stop my share there. I'm going to pull this slide back up really quickly. Again, we would love the opportunity to talk more with you. We'd love to talk about our other products and services, but if video-based practice and coaching is something that you're looking for and would be an effective way to help drive performance of your teams, scan this QR code. We'd love to talk with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Micah. Did you tell us what channels were? No, we were
was there a question about channels?
There was. Yes, we'll have time for we'll use this as our last question.
Last question. Channels meant to be the collaborative, maybe more peer-to-peer aspect of Rehearsal. So you can create a channel. Let's say Alexandria and I were we were on a team, right? We could have a channel that's just our team, to where every video that gets submitted in there, everybody can see everybody else's video, and has the opportunity to comment underneath it, ask questions, socialize, and it's not this back and forth workflow like the assignments are. Meant to be collaborative, more groupthink way to socialize with video practice.
Awesome, like a community of practice space. Great. Well, I know we just scratched the surface. There was lots of cool things that have been going on in rehearsal since I've last seen it. So this was really fun.
That's great.
And thank you for putting up this QR code for folks who have more questions, want to keep exploring, and maybe we didn't get to any of your questions. Maybe you didn't even ask them yet. A huge thank you to ELB Learning, to Micah, and thank you to all of our folks for attending and joining today. We hope to see you at future ATD demos and webinars, and hopefully have a wonderful afternoon, rest of your day. Thanks all.
Thank you, everybody. See y'all.
All right. Thank you, everyone. This actually concludes today's webinar. Thank you for attending. The recording will be available at webcast.td.org, and we will send all registrants an email tomorrow with that link. Please visit our event calendar to sign up for future webcasts.